here, look. We're gonna run.
Can't get in!
Don't bend the post over.
£144. That's what Jeremy Clarkson, one of the most recognisable faces in British television, reportedly made in his first year running a farm. A man once paid millions to crash supercars around the world was suddenly scraping together pennies from pig feed and potatoes. And somehow, it worked. But the story of Clarkson's farm isn't just about failure. It's about fame, farming, and a level of chaos no one, least of all Clarkson, saw coming. This story has battles with the government, celebrity backlash, collapsing restaurants, and one brutal tax bill that could take the whole thing down. So, take your seat to know one of the most intriguing stories of 65-year-old Jeremy Clarkson. It started back in 2008. Jeremy Clarkson quietly bought 1,000 acres of farmland in Chipping Norton, Oxfordshire. Back then, it was known as Curdle Hill Farm and run by a local farmer named Howard Pauling. Clarkson bought the farm mainly for one reason: taxes. He once told the Sunday Times that farmland was a better bet than any bank, a smart way to protect his wealth and eventually pass it on to his children without losing half to taxes. Plus, he wanted a quad bike. For years, the farm stayed in the background, while Clarkson focused on the fast-paced world of Top Gear and the Grand Tour. He had no intention of ever farming it himself, until 2019. When Pauling retired, Clarkson, then 59, and with absolutely no farming experience, made the bold decision to take over the land himself. With his usual dry humour, he renamed it Diddley Squat Farm, joking about how little money he expected to earn. At first, he believed farming would be straightforward: plant seeds, wait patiently, harvest crops, and turn a profit. But he had no idea how challenging and unpredictable the journey ahead would be. Then, in 2021, the story of his farm was turned into a TV show called Clarkson's Farm and released on Amazon Prime. What started as a small side project for Clarkson soon became a huge hit. People loved watching the mix of funny moments and real struggles. They laughed at Clarkson wrestling with sheep, crashing tractors, and arguing with the weather. But the show was more than just funny, it was honest. Just frustration, failure, and a man completely out of his depth. But Clarkson wasn't alone. The show introduced Caleb Cooper, a 26-year-old farming contractor with a mop of curls and no patience for nonsense. Then came Lisa Hogan, Clarkson's partner, and the brains behind the farm shop. Charlie Ireland, the patient land agent trying to keep everything afloat. And of course, Gerald G-Dog Cooper, a lovable farmer with an accent thick enough to need subtitles. By the end of season 1, Clarkson had earned just £144 in profit. But ironically, it was the best thing that could have happened. The brutal reality of farming, delivered with dry British wit, captivated millions. Clarkson's Farm became Amazon UK's most watched original, beating out The Lord of the Rings and drawing over 7.6 million viewers in its first month alone. So what made it work? Yes, Clarkson was funny. Yes, Caleb was a breakout star, but Clarkson's Farm hit differently because it showed how broken the farming system really is. Rural communities, collapsing under red tape and rising costs, saw themselves in Clarkson's chaos. Season 1 showcased crop failures, weather disasters, and empty bank accounts. Season 2 brought council crackdowns. By Season 3, Clarkson was dealing with dying piglets, losses on goats, and experimenting with mushrooms just to stay afloat. Real farmers took notice. The National Farmers Union named Clarkson Farming Champion of the Year. YouTube farmers like Ollie Harrison praised him for highlighting the grind, 18-hour days, thin profit margins, and government regulations that made everything harder. Some said he did more for farming awareness in one season than Countryfile had in 30 years. Suddenly, farming was becoming popular. But despite all the fame, Clarkson's Farm made one thing very clear, somberly: farming isn't really profitable. Season 1 ended with a tiny profit of just £144. By Season 3, after gaining experience and investing in upgrades, the farm made £72,601. But that money disappeared quickly, reinvested in seeds, fuel, and equipment, As Charlie Ireland, the farm's land agent, explained. Gravely, one bad year can bankrupt a farm. Farming alone couldn't keep Diddley Squat afloat, so Clarkson did what many modern farmers do: he diversified. In 2020, Clarkson and his partner Lisa opened the Diddley Squat farm shop, selling potatoes, honey, apple juice, and merchandise. More importantly, it sold Clarkson's brand. Fans lined up for hours to buy quirky items like cow juice and overpriced chutney. By 2023, the business had grown dramatically, with assets reaching £1.43 million, up from just £44,000 the year before. They added a food van and later opened a cafe with a beautiful view. But the cafe soon faced serious legal troubles. The cafe was eventually shut down by the local council, who said the traffic chaos caused by fans flooding the quiet Cotswold roads was a serious problem. Clarkson fought hard to keep it open, arguing the cafe was crucial for the farm's survival. But in the end, he lost the battle and had to sell 13 cows to cover the financial losses. But Clarkson, what it is. The pub appeared in Season 4 of Clarkson's Farm and uses ingredients sourced from Diddley Squat. However, on the very opening day, everything went wrong. There was no running water, no gas, a leaking roof, and staff had to make do with portable toilets. The chaos overwhelmed the team, and both a kitchen hand and a waiter quit on day one. To save the pub, Jeremy brought in hospitality pros Sue and Rachel Hawkins, but their advice clashed hard with his vision. They criticised everything, from the sticky bar stools to the cluttered carvery and filthy kitchen. The biggest blow-up came over outdoor decking. Sue and Rachel suggested installing 3 giant jumbrellas for shade, costing £40,000 with lighting. Clarkson was horrified. That's a car's worth, and went with a cheaper canopy. But when it turned out dark, cold, and miserable, he regretted it. After just 2 days of chaos, overworked chefs, and a collapsing kitchen, Sue and Rachel walked out. Some fans slammed them as arrogant, but Clarkson later admitted they were right, and he finally installed the jumbrellas. Despite its rocky start, Clarkson insists the pub isn't about profit. It's about saving the farm, he said. The farmer's dog continues, flaws and all. Clarkson adapted by shifting focus to the pub and continuing to sell farm products. And the fans? They kept coming back for more. Then came the biggest threat yet: inheritance tax. In October 2024, UK Chancellor Rachel Reeves ended agricultural property relief for farms valued over £1 million. Clarkson's farm, now worth around £13.5 million, could face a staggering £2.5 million tax bill if passed to his children. It was a heavy blow to family farming. Clarkson joined protests in Westminster, with Caleb and Charlie supporting him. He called the change worse than Thatcher and the miners. Although the government promised some funding, the damage was done. For once, Clarkson's fame worked against him. His farm was simply too valuable to qualify for relief. Today, the Diddley Squat team is still going strong. Jeremy Clarkson, now 65, shows no signs of slowing down. Season 4, released in May 2025, has been a huge success, covering the pub's rocky launch and another challenging year on the farm. Caleb Cooper is expecting his 3rd child, still farming and still rolling his eyes at Clarkson. Lisa Hogan runs the farm shop like clockwork. Charlie Ireland handles the finances. Gerald G-Dog Cooper is back on camera, though fans worry about his health after a recent illness. A new face briefly joined the team, Harriet Cowan, a 24-year-old nurse turned farmhand who quickly won over fans. After her time, you can still visit Diddley Squat today. The farm shop is open every day, the pub is running, and fans come from all over to buy